What's going on, everybody? Josh Setledge here from Setledge Strength and Conditioning. I am the BJJ Strength Coach, and we got a little workout here giving you guys an inside look on week 1, day 1, session 1, I guess you could say, of training Diego Bigelow. Diego Bigelow is one of my oldest training partners. He is a featherweight MMA fighter, and we're gearing up for his next fight, which is going to be at the end of March. Working on a little strength and conditioning here. So I'm just going to kind of break down what we're doing with Diego, the goals of the training session, the goals of the whole training cycle, and how you could use some of these exercises and even this whole workout to help you be stronger and more powerful in the cage, on the mat. Whether it's a gi, no gi, wrestling, whatever the case may be, this workout is going to help you be a better athlete overall, help you win more matches, and help you get injured less. So let's go and dive right into it. Working through a little bit of a dynamic warm-up here. You guys saw Diego on the rower, just warming up with a quick 500-meter row. We did some PVC pass-throughs to help open up the shoulder and improve the overhead position. Now we're doing some RPR wake-up drills. RPR stands for Reflexive Performance Reset. It's something that was created by Cal Dietz and JL Holdsworth. It's a lot to get into, maybe something I can get into a little bit later on another video. But if you're interested in RPR or Reflexive Performance Reset, just look up Cal Dietz RPR on the Mark Bell's Super Training Gym channel. They have an excellent video of him breaking down what it is, how it can help, how you can use it in your warm-ups, and things like that. So we're finishing up the RPR wake-up drills here, and we're going to kind of get into our official warm-up. It's going to be a few different exercises for anywhere between 10 to 15 reps per exercise per side, and we're going to do 3 sets here. The first movement, as you can see, is the 90-90 hip drill. This is one of my favorite warm-up exercises because it helps warm up the hips, the adductors, the abductors, the glutes, all that stuff. It helps improve hip internal rotation and external rotation. Basically, every single athlete I work with does this in their warm-up. It's awesome. I do this every day before jiu-jitsu. I do it first thing in the morning. It's excellent. Now, we got some hip circle step-ups here. What's great about wearing the hip circle from Mark Bell Slingshot, you guys can pick one up at markbellslingshot.com. The hip circle is great because it not only adds a little bit of resistance for basically everything you do with your lower body, but when you add it to a movement like the step up, yes, you are getting some extra resistance. When you raise your leg against the band, you get a little bit more activation in the quad, a little bit more activation in the hip flexors, but you also get a decent amount of resistance going back down because you have to push your leg back down with your glute and your hamstring on the down leg, and you have some resistance there with the hip circle. So it's great because you can kind of get a twofer. You can warm up one leg going up, warm up the other leg going down. This exercise right here, guys, let me tell you, everyone I believe needs to be doing this exercise, the Copenhagen plank. If you're pulling your groin too often, or you find that like you just kind of tweak things in your upper thigh area, it's probably because you have a muscular imbalance and your adductors are weak. This exercise is going to be great. What's awesome about this is, as you can see, we're warming up the adductors a little bit, but we're also adding in a side plank and a knee tuck to help engage the core, some anti-rotation stability in there as well. Now we're moving on to the swimmer mobility drill. This is kind of what I call it. Well, alternating hands, one arm's going up and over behind the head, the other arm is going up, or down and behind, trying to get the fingers to touch behind the back. Help warming up the T-spine, the shoulders, the rear delts, all that good stuff. Now we're moving into our main exercise. So this training session is a max effort lower body session, a dynamic effort upper body session with an emphasis on eccentrics, or triphasic eccentrics. So what we're doing is we're warming up for his main movement, which is going to be the Zercher box squat, and then we're adding in an active rest exercise for the upper body, which is going to be a Cuban press. It's important as a coach when you're working with athletes to always keep them busy. You don't want athletes sitting around too much. They start to, especially if you're working with large groups, sometimes kids start messing around a little bit. There's a little too much chit chat. And oftentimes, especially with MMA athletes, it's hard to even get them in the gym more than 2 days a week. It's not because they don't want to. they're just so busy. Diego, he's an incredibly busy athlete. He has his wrestling practice, he has his Muay Thai practice, he has his cage work, he has his cage drills, he has his MMA sparring rounds, he has his jiu-jitsu sparring rounds. So between all of us coaches trying to help Diego gear up for his fight at the end of March, I really only have about 2 hours per week to work with him. So that's why I'm just looking to maximize every second of our training session, mixing in a active recovery exercise for his upper body as we're fully resting the lower body between warm-up attempts and max effort attempts of his top exercise, or his top set, excuse me. So you'll see here that we're hitting some Zercher box squats. Diego's pretty familiar with this exercise, but it's been a minute since we've done it together. You can see that we're focusing on really pushing those hips back and driving those knees out, keeping the chest up nice and tall, which Diego's doing a great job of doing right now. He's keeping a good, strong underhook position, which is great. We're back onto the Cuban press here. When it comes to sets and reps for these active rest exercises, usually I just say anywhere between 15 to 25 reps. For active rest exercises, you don't want to pick anything that's like too demanding or too strenuous. You just want something that kind of hit those smaller stabilizing muscles, promote lots of blood flow, work on those weaknesses. Now we're getting into the triphasic section of the workout. This is our secondary exercise, which is going to be a tempo split squat on the balls of the feet. Now what we're doing here is we're slowing down the downward phase of the lift. And the reason why we're doing this is because we want to focus on strengthening up the connective tissue, strengthening up the amount of load that Diego can receive on the way down, so that in the future when we train isometrics and concentrics, he's able to stop that weight effectively, reverse that weight, and be explosive and powerful on the way up. You guys should definitely check out Cal Dietz. I know I mentioned him already with RPR, but he's written a great book called Triphasic Training that totally breaks down the importance of focusing on eccentrics, or the downward phase of a certain exercise. And the reason why we're doing it on the balls of his feet is to create a little bit of instability in there, as well as just strengthen up his feet and his toes and his ankles. He fights barefoot, so we want to make sure that his toes and his feet are nice and strong so that he can drive off of his back foot when he's throwing his punches. He can drive through on takedowns, all that good stuff. You'll see that he was doing some pull-ups in there as a active rest movement for the upper body. And now we're moving into the dynamic effort section of the workout. We're doing some really explosive push-ups with a 3-second eccentric on the way down. We're doing some medicine ball slams, and now you'll see here he's doing some band pull-aparts as his active rest exercise. What we did with Diego is a ton of volume of work, and only, I think the whole workout took 40 minutes, and then we spent 10-15 minutes on mobility. So we are really just throwing everything at him. He's been working with me for almost a year now, and he's pretty experienced with how I roll and how I work with a lot of my athletes. And we have a great relationship because everything that he needs, he communicates to me right away. So sometimes he'll come in and be like, hey, like yesterday sparring was crazy, so I just need a lot of mobility work, and be like, great, got it, let's do it. So me and Diego have a great relationship. He's a great guy. I just absolutely love working with him, and I'm so excited to see him perform at the end of March. We're doing some medicine ball slams. The sets and reps for the dynamic effort work is going to be 8 sets of 3 reps on both the push-ups and the medicine ball slams, but the push-ups are going to have a 3-second eccentric, or a 3-second downward phase. So it'll be like 3, 2, 1, and then a big explosive press or push-up after that. We're mixing in some lower body active rest exercises like the banded leg curl. And now this one's pretty tough, actually. It looks like it's some kind of easy Pilates exercise, but believe me, it's actually way harder than it looks. What we're doing is single leg hip circle abduction. Now, it's important for Diego's jiu-jitsu game and his striking and his kicks and basically everything that he's going to do in the cage, that he has absolute complete control over his hips and how he can externally rotate his body, or not his body, his hips, so to speak. So we're doing a couple sets of 3 reps on each side on that. And now the workout is just about finished, and we're moving into some mobility work. We're really attacking and hammering on the hip flexors here, because a lot of what Diego does is with a closed hip flexor position. When he's in his wrestling stance, when he's in jiu-jitsu doing his guard game, when he's doing his strikes and stuff, a lot of times he's kind of shelled up to protect his body. And so it's important that when working with grapplers, whether it's wrestling or jiu-jitsu athletes, and especially with MMA guys, that you focus on opening up those hips. If he can open up his hips all the way, he'll be much more effective in how he's able to breathe. He can breathe more efficiently, which is going to help his conditioning. He'll be able to kick, take shots, throw kicks, punch, do takedowns, defend takedowns, work up against the cage. His guard game will be much more dangerous. His guard passing will be much more effective if he's able to be more mobile. So we're doing a stretch here called banded hip extension. This one's awesome because it helps you you can see Diego's right leg is in the band there. And it just allows you to get a little extra oomph on like a typical lunge stretch. The band does a good job of kind of adding some additional resistance there and pulling your hip open so you can get the most out of this stretch. It's really important when it comes to mobility work that you look at the athlete in the session itself. And so sometimes I don't even plan specifically what mobility drills we're going to work on. I just look at Diego's movement. I just look at how he's feeling for the day and select which mobilizations we're going to do based off of wherever his weak points are. So today we squatted a lot. He was going to do wrestling practice later today, so it was important that we open up those hips. On another workout we did earlier this week, I noticed his ankles were pretty locked up, so we focused on some more ankle mobility and stuff like that. Usually I have athletes spend about 2 minutes in each position if we have the time. Sometimes we're short on time, so we have to shorten it down to a minute, but ideally you want to spend about 2 minutes in each of these mobilizations, really allowing the band to pull the joint back or pull the joint in whatever direction we're trying to pull the joint in, and making sure that we're taking in big, deep breaths in our stomach. You can even work through some contract relax drills in there, which is what I'm working with Diego right now. This one's called a banded hip distraction. This one's awesome. I love this one. In college, every day after school, I would come home and hit this. And it really helped open up my hips for my squats, really helped open up my hips for jiu-jitsu and wrestling. And that's it. Hope you guys have enjoyed this little voiceover in training my man, Diego Bigelow. Definitely go follow him on Instagram at Diego_Diablo145. If you guys have questions about strength and conditioning when it comes to combat sports, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, all that good stuff, just drop them in the comments below. If you guys want a free 4-week strength program, a complete full body strength program, all you got to do is just click the link in the description below. I'll be able to send it to you guys. There's no strings attached. All I need is your email and it'll just directly send to you. I want to help you guys out as much as possible. I want to help you guys win more matches and get injured less. And so I created a free strength program that you guys can follow to do that. This is Josh Setledge from SetledgeStrength.com, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.
These my dollars make it hurt.